I came out of the darkness, something changed. I'm not exactly sure what that was, but something changed. And I got back to my phone after 5 days off of it. I realized that there'd been a little bit of a shift. And that I heard from multiple people that I trust around the league, players mostly, that there was some shopping going on, that they were interested in actually moving me.
Michael and I can't seem to get enough of this Aaron Rodgers topic. Shalise Young, Yahoo Sports, on the other hand, I get the sense, I get a hunch, just a hunch that you might be tired of it, that you might be sick of Aaron Rodgers' watch.
Yeah, I'm over it. I mean, I've been over him for a while. The persecution complex is just. It's so real. It's just it's crazy to me. And then, he says yesterday that it's time for the Packers to do right by him, as if they haven't seemingly done everything humanly possible, including standing by him during that "yes, I'm immunized" thing a couple of years ago.
Shalise, not everything. I mean, they didn't draft the receiver in the first round for him. There's
here we go. Here we go. There he go. There he goes.
Every time we start talking about
listen.
Go ahead, Shalise.
But the thing of it is, he talks like he is,
Broke?
a 3-4 time. He talks like he's, so much more accomplished than he is. And I'm just over it. I'm not saying that he's not talented, but there are people who are supposedly talented who listen, you guys know, you watched, I had a front row seat for the 2006 Patriots season. And that is quite possibly, and I love them all because they were kind guys in the locker room, but that might be the worst composition of receivers ever. And Tom Brady got them this close to the Super Bowl. So don't tell me it's, if you're that good, you should be making everybody around you better. And I just don't feel like he's necessarily done that. You have one ring to show for it. You said that before you went into the darkness, you were 90% sure you were going to retire. And now that you've come out and decided, oh, yeah, I guess I'm not going to retire, now the Packers are being disrespectful to you, make it make sense.
So that actually leads me right where I wanted to go. And listen, we'll have plenty of time to dissect this if and when this deal gets done in our lifetime. But I'll pose this to both of you guys. Because, I mean, the AFC, as we've talked about over the last several seasons, really, is loaded with not just quarterbacks, but young quarterbacks. Rodgers is not going to be the best quarterback in his own division for the first time in forever, okay? So right now, he ain't better than Josh Allen. Not right now. Not right now, okay? Not right now.
All right.
So
okay. All right.
Just how good are these New York Jets, Michael, with Aaron Rodgers?
New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers are a playoff team, and I would say if you look at the division, give it to Buffalo. Buffalo first. It's a toss-up for second between the Jets and Miami, and that means, Shalise, your last place, stuck in last place team, the New England Patriots. And I would say that for that reason and others, the Patriot way is dead. Patriot way is dead. That's old school stuff. We don't even roll like that anymore. They are not even in the conversation. How many times can you say that? The Patriots are so far away from these other teams if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you agree with that, Shalise. Tell me how you see it.
I mean, it's hard to disagree. The other teams in the division have been getting better. You mentioned Josh Allen. The Jets have the offensive and defensive rookies of the year on their roster. The Dolphins keep adding pieces. They added Tyreek Hill last year. This year, they're adding to their defensive core, which already was solid. You have to say the Patriots are fourth place. And look, I think what happened last year with the whole offensive coordinator quarterback coaching thing was monumentally unfair to Mac Jones. And I don't understand for the life of me these teams that, spend high, big draft capital getting quarterbacks and then give them 2 or 3 different offensive coordinators in the first couple of years. And then everybody starts to disparage the player as, you're learning multiple different ways and multiple different approaches. Even if the language might be similar in the Patriots case, you're still asking him to work with multiple different people. And that just does not seem like a formula for success. So, yeah, I think, it's Devin McCourty retired. So an incredible leader and somebody who embodied whatever we want to say is the Patriot way. I have so much respect for Devin and what he brought to that locker room from a leadership standpoint. And as, the man that I kind of had a seat to watch him grow into. Matthew Slater is still there, but, I think at the end of the day, we're probably safe to say the Patriot way was Tom Brady. And once he left, then that was it.
Follow up on the Patriots, because they do have TikTok boy now, as A.J. Brown would call him. But interestingly enough, they pay Juju SmithSchuster, I'm just joking, Juju SmithSchuster the same money that Jacoby Myers got from Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. The Patriots' track record when it comes to identifying receivers beyond, they get Randy Moss for a fourth and Wes Welker, and sure. But drafting receivers in particular is a struggle. Oftentimes bringing in veteran receivers has not been kind as well. What does that say that they would give a guy who they haven't had experience with the same amount of money that a guy that they know and produced for them that was homegrown as Jacoby Myers got somewhere else, Shalise?
Yeah, that one's really confusing to me. It really is. Jacoby, like you hit on, the Patriots' Achilles heel has been drafting, and Jacoby was undrafted, but it's been finding and developing young receivers. They have that run of drafting receivers in the second round, and they all ended up being flops. And here it is, a young man that you brought into the system as an undrafted player, and he just got better and better. And then you let him go and sign somebody from the outside for equal money. That's really confusing to me. It seems like based on, Devin McCourty's reaction that I saw yesterday, Jacoby Myers' own reaction, that he wanted to stay. And so it's really strange. There were no reports that he was, a disciplined, a kid that wasn't, on his job and things like that. So that thing's really confusing to me. And again, somebody else that Mac Jones has played with for the last 2 years, and you're bringing in somebody that now he's unfamiliar with.
Yeah, he was pretty much the ambassador. He was one of the Patriots ambassadors. So I'm surprised too, Shalise, that they didn't bring along or didn't want to re-up with the guy that they developed and turned into this player that Josh McDaniels identified as somebody, okay, he needs to be on my roster. So I think it was a mistake for the Patriots. But let me ask you this. Speaking of mistakes, Lamar Jackson, really, we haven't heard a team that is not even lukewarm about re-signing him, including his own team. And I think this is going to be, we're going to look at this as the offseason of Lamar, for better or worse. What do you think? Let's make a prediction. This time next year, what are we going to be saying about Lamar Jackson and the offseason of 2023?
I think I'm going to make a plea, okay? Lamar and Lamar's mama, if you want to talk to somebody, please reach out. I'm happy to help you guys and give you guys a platform to say whatever you need to say, because I am fascinated and terrified might be a little strong, but I'm almost kind of scared for Lamar, because it seems like he has a little bit of Curt Flood in him, and that he really wants to make this point that, look, the standard now is a guaranteed contract. I deserve a guaranteed contract because I have the hardware that Deshaun Watson doesn't. Oh, and I was not accused by over 24 women of sexual impropriety. And I'm, for the record, 100% on board with him in that. However, we have already seen the NFL just completely move on from a talented young quarterback that they did not like in Colin Kaepernick. So if Lamar wants to make the point that this is what I want and I won't play, they might move on from him. Or he might have to just go back and eventually sign, the franchise tag. And then people are going to be slagging him for, well, if you had an agent, this would have been different. And, it might be considered a negative on him that things didn't work out the way that he wanted to. If he's trying to, buck the system and fight the machine, I give him all the respect in the world. That looks like what he's trying to do, and I give him so much respect for doing that. It just, if this was also maybe like the year where Joe Burrow was up and they could do it together, it just becomes a stronger fight. It's the same thing with Brian Flores' lawsuit. It got strengthened when more men added their names to that suit. So if somebody else was fighting with Lamar, to be like, no, be mad at the Browns, but the standard now is fully guaranteed. So let's go.
In other words, if the teams can collude, so can the players. Shalise, we appreciate you, man. It's always good to talk to you. Thank you for the conversation.
Always good to talk to you guys.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Shalise. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.